tonight. I'm the author of this great book, Why Should I Be Ashamed? Tonight we are talking about conflict resolution. And listen, will you do me a quick favor? Please like, share, and if you can't come in tonight, go and check us out on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll be right back to give you this content that the producers and I have for you tonight.
Give God the glory. Give God the glory. Yeah, that's what I do. Give God the glory. He already knew my story. Look at me. Can't you see victory? Victory. No more shame in this game. No more shame. No more shame in this game. No more shame. No more shame. I'm not alone, 'cause you're at home. You got a story of your own. Do-do, do-do. Why should I do-do, do-do? 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 Why should I be ashamed? I said I'm sorry. Why should I be ashamed? Oh, that's my story.
Great evening. Welcome back to Why Should I Be Ashamed? I am your host. Listen, tonight we are talking about conflict resolution. Most of the time when you think about conflict, you think about just being in a battle. It has gotten such a bad rep, you know. When you think about conflict, you always think about the negative part of your emotions. Listen, conflict, we all have conflict in this world. I don't care how much peace you see a person in and how everything may look like an even kill. They have either experienced conflict, either in the middle of conflict, or they're overcoming some kind of conflict. So tonight, I want you to know, just because you have been sexually abused, and that's our topic, our conversation every Tuesday, it does not mean that there is no end to that story. But you have to begin to really dig in and know that conflict happens to everybody, and it's not just negative. Conflict can be very nasty. It can be very destructive when we think about conflict. But if we add on resolution, thinking about there's a resolve, there is a end. But also, it can be an end of a thing. Resolution is an end of a thing. Conflict. When you think about conflict, what do you think of? I think of a battle. I think of two decisions. I think of yin and yang, you know, tomato, tomato. It's an argument. Somebody wants to argue. It's a serious disagreement when we think about conflict. You know, it's typical to protracted one, an external conflict, and a clash, even within us. You ever wanted to do something right, but something inside of you is always saying, go the other way. When we want to do good, when we want resolve, something is always saying, just battle about it, have that fight. And I often say, if your fight didn't start with when you met me, some of you, I just met you today and you're already upset. So what I always say, you was like that when you came. You had a battle within you when you came. When I married my husband, he already had a battle within him. It didn't have anything to do with me. He had a conflict in him. Oh, here he's come. He's ready to get down to the get down. So Listen, there is always a conflict if you do not. It's a clash, but you got to bring it to resolve. What is conflict? It gets a bad rap. It's grievance. Most of us say, I don't want to argue. I don't want a conflict. I don't want a battle. I don't want this prolonged struggle. But how many of us can wait? Just give me a few minutes so I can say what I have to say. Give me a few minutes so I can give you a piece of my mind, especially some of you that have been sexually abused or some of you that have been a sexual abuser. You are in conflict if you have not come to a place of resolve, a place of forgiveness, a place of, hey, get out of here, forget about it. I'm moving forward and I'm moving on. You know, conflict, it's always strife. You ever met those people? They have strife within them in everyday life. I'm telling you, once you go outside, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Kmart, you can go to Aldi's, you can go to Harris Teeter, you can go to work, you can go home. There is somebody that's full of strife. And I say they're full of unresolved issues. Don't take it personal, because all of us have something. Either we don't want to deal with it, we're not ready to deal with it, or I've never dealt with it. You ever met those people that has never dealt with a thing? And everything you do, everything you do, it's a problem. I'm dealing with someone now. Every time I see them, it's a problem. If I'm happy, it's a problem. If my door is closed, it's a problem. But it lets me know that it has nothing to do with me. It has all to do with them. When people are, and oftentimes we deflect. We're going to put it on you. I used to tell my pastor, I say, when those people come to our church, they've been there 10 days before they say, the pastor made me do it, or the devil made me do it. No, no, no. You made you do it because you have not resolved your conflict. Conflict is always controversy. You ever met those people, they just love to argue. Anybody know? Raise your hand, send me some hearts. You love to argue. Nobody is ever right. God is not even right. You're always want to fight. You're quarrelsome. And when you're like that, you're that person. You often sow discord. Sometimes we be up here in the studio and we're at peace, but then there's always that one that wants to sow discord. There's always that one. See, the fight is within you. It has nothing to do with me when I show antagonism, opposition, conflict. If I say yin, you say yang. If I say strawberry, you say blueberry. If I say wine, you say tequila. If I say dog, you say cat. It's just always something. And I just sit back and listen. I say, oh, they got conflict. Yeah, discord. It's a collision, oftentimes there's a head-on collision with these people. Now listen, I don't know about you, but oftentimes when we're in relationship, fellowship, we have collisions. So what? I don't agree with you today. Give me a day or two to resolve this thing within me, and I might agree with you tomorrow. Isn't that how we are? Tomorrow, I might agree, but I'm just too stubborn. There's too much conflict in me to agree with you today. Do you know anybody like that? They want to agree. They tell you 10 years later, Mr. Calvert tell me 10 years later, he say, honey, you were right. It took 10 years for him to resolve that conflict. How about you? I just use him for illustration because he is my greatest feat in life, and I'm his. And so we've been here 30 years resolving this 31. Oh, he says 31. Listen, we have a conflict now. I want to go to Paris. He wants to go to Memphis. I say, baby, go to Memphis. I've seen it. I've seen Beale Street. I've seen the Yang, the Ya, whatever, ya. I've been to Elvis Presley Boulevard. Okay, go on to see mommy. I want to go to Paris. But you know what? He think he's right. He think he's right about it. Why do you want to take me somewhere I've already been? Whatever. Anyway, conflict. Let me tell you about conflict. Conflict is good if you're going to work through it. I always ask people when they say, Sheila, I need to talk to you. I want to know, Are we going to resolve something, or do you just want to spill your guts? Or do you want to say, as the world say, I want to give you a piece of my mind? Well, I want you to keep your peace of mind before you have a stroke. Don't give me a piece of your mind. I don't want it, because I'm dealing with conflict resolution right within here. Conflict will stretch you. It will cause you to grow and get to know. The worst thing with some of you, you know what your problems are? You have negated to deal with your issues. So you act like you never done anything. Oh, I was the best of everything. No, you wasn't. Oh, I was good. No, we're not good at everything. Some of you think you're good at everything, but I'm telling you, you're not good at resolution. So let me tell you this. Conflict is a natural part of life. Husbands and wife conflict is a natural part of what life. You liked her. You know why you liked that woman? Because you know that she would complete something that you was not going to do. You seen that she had order and you had disorder. You seen that he had the gifts and you was just sitting back in the cut and didn't do anything. You seen that he was strong and determined and that he was able and more able, and you seen that he was that father that you didn't have, and you said, oh, I believe he can resolve my issues. And then when it come to find out that he got tired of you and your issues, honey, and there was no resolve, then you got mad. And then you said he's a problem. But how many know that we are our own problems? The devil didn't make you do it. We blame everything on God. Why didn't God? Why didn't God? Why didn't God? And now the church didn't shut down. So why don't you? Okay, I'm not even going to get into the spirit thing. But listen, we have conflicts in friendship. We have conflicts in our business. We have conflicts in our social construct. All over the world, there's conflict. But let me tell you the most important thing, and you hear me say, I want you to agree with me. Or, hey, let's agree. What is that thing people say, agree to disagree? Is that a reality? I don't know. I want to ask these men, what do you all feel? Is that something you guys, I think the men made that up because they knew women were never going to stop talking. Women will never stop talking. I tell you, women, we think because we're intellectual and we have that instinct. Hey, how about you guys get a mic because they love to chat. What do y'all think about this? Oh, they grabbed the mic, both of them at the same time. I believe they're in conflict. I don't think Broderick want to get into it tonight, but Anthony loves to argue. It's time to rumble. Come on, Anthony. What does conflict resolution mean to you? You've heard it. You heard me tonight. Why are you so ready to fight all the time?
First of all, I'm not always ready to fight all the time. Sometimes when the producer comes in, he brings a spirit. That's another
And it
story.
wasn't already here before he got here.
No,
He didn't act like this before he got here. He just,
he brings a spirit.
okay.
That's another story. My idea or philosophy concerning conflict resolution is it's just the colliding of characters, of personalities, of mindsets to the point where it alters or it disrupts your emotional life, your physical life, your mental life. And so conflict resolution is actually giving a resolve or giving an answer. Sometimes it's not an answer. Sometimes it's just, and I don't say the phrase, let's agree to disagree. That's not how me and you talk. I don't think I've ever heard you say that. That's not what I say. When you said that, Broderick and I began to talk, he doesn't use that phrase either. So agree to disagree, I think that's a way to not resolve a conflict.
Or is that a way to say, that's your opinion, but I don't agree?
It is. But
And
nothing
that means shut up.
right, but nothing
in a
gets
nice
solved.
way.
That means that there cannot be a resolution to this conflict right now. That you're going to think your way, I'm going to think mine, so let's leave it alone is what really that is saying.
Okay.
However, in conflict resolution, I really need you to tone down because I see you got a lot of energy ready to fight today.
Are you talking to Miss Charlotte or Linnea, or you
No, I'm
talking
not
to
talking to.
Glenda or Gwendolyn
I'm not.
Sanders? Or
I'm.
ladies, do y'all hear him? Let's send some hearts to the pastor. Are you talking to me to tone down?
I'm not talking to Charlotte or any of your
He's talking
listeners.
to y'all.
I'm talking to you as it pertains to me. Now, Broderick seems to agree with me that sometimes the conflict that we have, that you sort of instigate it or you sort of inspire it. So I think we need to work, all people need to work on resolving their conflicts. Isn't that right, Broderick?
Well, it looks like Broderick is just not in for it. Maybe he'll come with the resolve. But listen, I want to say to you, people, this is not male or female. This is, all of us have that thing within us. But you can manage your conflict. You know, sometimes I've just learned to just don't say a word. I just be looking. Do you all remember Rosanna Down? And she would just be looking like, I see there's no period at the end of this sentence. It's never going to end. So you just stop, because resolution have to come within emotional, and the heart is wicked. It's just our feelings. We cannot go by our feelings. We have to have an understanding. So when we talk about resolution, what are we really saying? What we're really saying, help me understand here. Help me understand you. Help me to help you process your sexual abuse without spending your whole life with unresolved issues, as if it's an eternal pain, it's an eternal ache, it's a problem that you're going to let your whole life spiral out of control, because you won't bring it to a resolve. That's why you keep on going around these same old cycles. The same old cycles. You just go round and round the cycle. It's not even a mulberry bush. But resolution, also known as it's over. It's over. Analyzing a complex notion into a simple one. It doesn't matter how complex your experience in this life is. It doesn't matter what you've been through. The worst thing that I find is when I speak with people, especially some of the women, whether I'm counseling or I'm just having a conversation with, is when they have a problem. Today, July 20th, 21. And they say to me, it's always been like this. From the womb, I've been abused. From the womb. When I was a little girl, I got pushed around. When I was 7, I was abused. When I was 9, they took advantage. When I was 10, I went to church and they took advantage. And they spend their whole life. Today, we have an issue, and they want to address that issue. That tells me that they have never, not never, but most of the time, they have not addressed the former issues even in their childhood. And so tonight I hope to share just some resolve, some how to resolve some of these issues, how to process them out of you. Number one, I need you to understand that you're not isolated in conflict. Everyone in the world has conflict, and everyone has to resolve it. So we have to learn ways to analyze these issues and not make them so complex. How can something that happened 20 years ago be so complex today? You know what happens when you smother it and push it down and don't deal with it and cover it up and tell yourself it did not hurt. Tell yourself it's really not that bad. And let me tell you, you know what I stopped saying, and I tell my children, stop saying it's okay. They did this to me, but it's okay. It's not okay. Life and death is in the power of our tongue. It's not okay. We acknowledge that it's not okay. We acknowledge that you were a sick person, but I don't have to continue that cycle in my life. I can get you out of my life, out of my cycle. So let's turn these issues. I'm not saying it wasn't bad, but we have to deal with it. We have to begin to answer. And guess what? Resolution means there's a finale. There's an end to it. There's an end to it. I didn't get here today. I feel good about who I am. I feel good when I go through trials and tribulations. You should see how I face them. People they be in expectation. I remember one day, a former boss who now loves me. She let me go from my job back in the hair days, and she said, "I have to let you go." She accused me of something that I hadn't ever done. And I heard the Spirit say, if you don't say a word, I'll bless you with a job. The next day, I had a new job. But listen, years later, she asked me to come back, and I came back and worked for her. But listen, you don't have to resolve every time you get in conflict with an argument, with a battle. You don't have to always be ready to cuss somebody out. If cussing ain't in you, it wouldn't be coming out of it. You don't have to always have to go get your knife, your gun, and resolve. There are other ways to resolve these simple issues. But sometimes we make our issue our permanent condition, and our permanent condition will end it with permanent tragedy, whether we go to jail or whether we go, end our lives, end our success story. And I don't care how old you are, today is a new day, it's a new mercy. So listen, the resolve must be more valuable than the conflict. So think about somebody in your life that you really would like to get to resolve. Sometimes you want to hear people, and we often talk about you can't talk while I'm talking. You ever talk to those people? They have the deaf ear spirit. You know how you know they have a deaf ear spirit? Because all while you're talking and you're talking soft, they over talking you. It's like three voices, their voice, your voice, and put two of you together. And nobody's hearing nothing, and that's why you never get resolved. You're going to have to stop. Let me share my wisdom. You share your wisdom. And then let's see if we can come to a place of understanding and resolve. And really, as healthy people, we should always work towards getting resolved. Are you calling me because you want resolve? Are you talking about a conflict because you want resolve? Or are you looking for someone to blame on your dysfunction? Someone to blame on the things that you didn't take care of when you were 17. Resolution means to release, to loosen a promise to yourself. I like resolution. I don't have to rise up. I don't have to get in a debate. I watch people that love to debate. Now, maybe that's just part of your DNA. But some people just love to debate because they have no resolve. They spend their whole life arguing. And I know that sometimes people haven't heard you. You know why they haven't heard you? Because some of your stuff just doesn't make sense. Until you start owning some of the things, yeah, I know you was abused, but that's not your end of your story. That's not your finale. That was an experience. It happened. Get over it, honey. Go to the hospital and tell them to get you a rape kit and tell them, hey, it was back in 1980, but I need a rape kit to do today. I'm saying do whatever it takes to get resolved. Resolution means to commit, to explain, to resolve, to commit to the end. I'm going to work through this until I get to my end. That's why we come on here every Tuesday night, because we know there are so many of you that have not gotten to your end. You want a man, but you don't want to resolve your issues. You're going to bring all that baggage to the table. You want a wife, but you don't want to end some of your issues. So you bring all your issues, and the reason I do this is because that and whatever. Anthony, is something going on over there? I see. You need to say something about here? I'm just wondering. Well, let me know. But you got to, resolution is to set a goal. Tell yourself today, I am going to deal with some of these conflicts within my mind. Now, some of you have tormented yourself so much that, like I said, and go back on some of my YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, but go back there. There, we talked about making sure that you have a professional therapist to process you through this. Please, please don't just blame it on prayer, because you know you didn't pray and you're still, what's that word I'm trying to find? You're still in conflict. You didn't pray, you didn't spoke in an unknown tongue. You didn't and high-fived, and you didn't stood up in the church. You didn't bow down, you didn't pay your tithes, and you're still in conflict. So I say you're special needs. It's nothing wrong. I was special needs, honey. I went to the therapist. I went to the sweet, I went to the one where they say, Hasha, and they kick it out your stomach with their fists. I went to those with the anointed oil. They slapped me on my head one time. They slapped it out of me. I don't know what spirit that was. Then I went to the real quiet, sweet people where they talk real sweet to you. And then when you leave, it feels like they shook you up in a washing machine. And then I just sat before the men of God and I listened to the word of God. I sat before the old mothers, the ancient mothers. And guess what I did? I had application. Information, no application, equal abortion. I had information, application, and resolution. If you want resolution, baby, guess what you're going to have to do? Have some application. Stop blaming everybody and stop telling everybody how great you was. You was not great. I was not great. I was confused, miscombobulated. I didn't have no understanding, but guess what I did? I stayed there until I got it. I stayed there until I got it. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to finish some things. I want you to get in some relationships when a person can tell you, that's not very nice, Sheila. That's not very nice, man. But a lot of you is around those yes people. But you better get around somebody to say, that didn't feel good the way you said that to me. So you can, every story has an end and a resolution. You know what? The answers may be tough. The solutions may be rough going through it, but you can go through it. Answers can bring resolve for others. Do you know when you get better, there's going to be people around you that say, wow, the way she speaks now, the anger is gone, the bitterness is gone, the way she's processing. Because I know a lot of successful people that have things and material things, but is bitter, and they would beat you to death with their old abuse. Answers also can uncover your past. Answers will confront and bring you to the future. So, you guys have anything you want to say about resolution? Anything you want to add? I see Broderick. Look like he might be a little. Are you in the house tonight? Okay, how to resolve. I'm just going to give you a few things, and that helped me. Now, I am not at my final destination, but I tell you, I don't do battles, and sometimes it may feel like you're cowering down, but when you know that you have somebody that will fight your battles, and that why should I fight you about a conflict that is in you? I can't fix you. I know that I have been changed. I know that I have overcome some things, so I go quiet. I was speaking to a young lady one time about something that my own child experienced. She wasn't here. She have one of them dumb spirits. How you gonna just be dumb and talk about your opinion? I'm telling you what I know, the person that experienced. And she talked so dumb, and the Spirit of the Lord said, don't say nothing. And I just said, well, I'm gonna get off the phone. That's what I do. When you have some of those people that have that conflict in them and they always ready to fight, they make like they want to come to an understanding. See, a person that want to come to an understanding, first of all, they're going to be a listener. And they are also, they're going to own some of it. They're going to say, I could have done this better, or maybe it was the way that you have to own some of the conflict that's when you. So, how do we resolve conflict? Within our families, our businesses. What do business people do? They come to the boarding room and they set a time and they set a place and they deal with one issue at a time. Honey, don't you bring up grandmother. If you're going to go way back in the ancient history, you want to start back in 1960 when you was born, start there, but let's do one thing at a time and go through some of these process. But don't bring everything in at once. Don't say, oh, woe is me. I always been bad. You're not the only one. Honey, Jesus went through more than you did. Cheers to you. Okay, so we're going to set a time and a place and we're going to talk about it. And don't call me every time you call me it's a conflict. No. Call me and say, hey, I would like to set a time and a place. There are some things I want to talk to you. I just got some things that's burdening me. And I would like, don't tell me you want to get something off your chest because then you go, Muhammad Ali is dead. You want to get something off your chest, go find somebody to box in the boxing ring. Just say, I would like to speak with you and share with you because, it's always the content of how you come to the battleground. You have to come with, I got to bring my boxing gloves up here. You got to come with your boxing gloves down. Yes, sir, Calvert. Pastor Calvert.
Yes, I wanted to interject here, if I may. I was just looking at some steps for conflict resolution, and this particular passage that I'm looking at, the number one thing it says is before there can be any resolve to conflict. As a matter of fact, the conflict I have with Broderick, if there was a conflict, before he and I could even start to resolve it, number one, we have to cool off. In other words, we got to calm down.
Don't be angry.
Yes, you can't go into a resolution meeting and you are
full of rage.
Exactly. I think that's the number one reason why so many.
That is so good, honey. It's like self-therapy. That is so good. Oh, I like that. You guys should see him.
I think that's the number one reason why things are not being resolved because the people are coming in and they come into a person's house.
Did you hit him with your hand?
No. But
Broderick's wife gonna come over here one day and handle us. She gonna see them bruises on her husband and she's gonna handle us.
I don't know. Maybe
I'm sorry.
Is this mic on, Patrick? Producer? I don't know. It seems like I'm being interrupted. But anyway, so I just wanted to interject that. So I just want to give you these 6 really quick. It said, number 1, cool off. Number 2, tell what? I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. I didn't say nothing about you going through 16. No, you do that on Sunday show. Honey. No. Here we go. This is the takeover. You know what? I want y'all to come back. After we do Why Should I Be Ashamed, it's going to be an after party. We're going to have a new song. But he got 6 things. Ain't no, What's your number 2? Okay, you do your number 2. I'm going to tell you what my number 2 is. What's your number 2?
Well, the number 2 on here was to tell each other what's bothering you. After you calm down, explain what the issue is.
Okay, let's hypothetical.
And make sure a person hears you, and then they say it back to you is number 3. So
Well, first, let's do number 2. Now, see, this is the thing with you and I. So, do you think this will work in marriage conflicts too? Because sometimes it seems like people have bigger voices and dominant personalities, and it's like they want to shut you down, and you just be looking at them like, oh, really? Well, and sometimes women overtalk men overtalk women.
Exactly, they do.
Well, my number 2 was define the problem. See, this is, but a lot of times you don't know you got a problem. You don't know you have a problem. All the problems is always mine.
In most cases, they are.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You know why? because it don't make any sense if I know you got that conflict in you already. So, so you have to define the problem. What is the problem? Like the young people say, why are you mad? Why are you mad? Like, okay, so me and my husband, we're going to put it out there. I said, would you stop asking me about a certain thing? He said, okay, baby, I won't ask you ever again. This is his favorite line at the end of every resolution. I'll never ask you again. He gets in his feelings and then he say, I'm gonna just ask you this one more time. just hear me out. Now he don't already know. I've come to the resolution. It is over. But just hear me out. Now this a year later. Just hear me out. Now I got to get all the way worked back up in the same emotions to say to you, I did not tell him that I'm not interested. So then I try to go all the way around without hurting his feelings. But if you keep coming back to that same situation, when a person tell you it's done, let it be done. Now, it'll be different if I come to him and say, you know, honey, I had a thought about this situation and I've changed. But I didn't come to him. He come to me a year later. So, listen, I got to get out of here. So define the problem. Find out, and when I'm saying define the problem, find out what's in you. Stop always trying to dig. Well, you know, it's there. You ever seen people talk and do all kind of things to provoke you? They analyze you. They want to process you. But then they don't ever want to look at yourself. So you got to define the problem that is with you. What is the conflict with you in you? If there is no conflict, there shouldn't be no argument. Number 3, who contributes to the issues? Who contributes to the disagreements? What's your number 3, Anthony?
The number 3 was each person restate what they heard the other person say. Is to make sure that you heard me and you heard my heart that I put into it. That's why you can't go on your last 2 years ago resolution, because this is a new thing now. I have new feelings.
But also you can't go so long that the people forget they thought. You give a thought and let the person, you know, people want to resolve things and they want to give you 7 paragraph, 3 or 4 points, and you done forgot what they saying. Somebody hit it. Yeah, they done forgot. So how do I know? If you won't let me speak in between, put a period on it. Put a period. Don't put a comma, explanation. Some of you got run-on sentences, and that's why you can't get resolved. You want to be heard, but part of resolution is listening. And I don't know, sometimes it doesn't sound like that person is almost, all I can think of is, retarded is not a good word that we want to use anymore. But you ever, when they're explaining things, it just sounds, I'll be like, wow, where is this coming from? What pain? Who abused you? Who hurt you? Who put you down? There's this guy on YouTube. His name is Kevin Samuels. And when you hear his dialogue, a lot of times, a lot of things he says good. But sometimes you say, well, who hurt him? Who left him? How many divorces did he have? Who abused that man? Because you can tell he's coming from a place of conflict. He's not coming from love, forgiveness. Let your answers be pure from a foundation that you want that other person to be better. And that's hard. I'm not saying, I had a young lady I was talking to the other night for about 3-4 hours. Every time I said something, she said it's easier said than done. I say, no, it's not easy, but we can do all things through what? Through Christ that strengthens us. You can't do all this on your own. I already know that. You need a therapist. Okay. Number 4. List the times you attempt to resolve an issue and did not succeed. Ooh! Anthony, what's your number 4? I'm not even going to talk about that. A lot of times there is no resolve.
The number 4 I have is take responsibility. In other words, own your stuff.
That was number 2 over here.
Oh, no, not, okay, no, your number 2 was.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead. See, he's so easy to argue. It's another thing. Anytime you easy to argue, See how we fighting over which is number two? He ready. He's what? What's your number four, Pastor Calvert?
My number four, again,
This is
this
good
is
counsel.
part of the conflict because you're not listening.
Oh, I'm not?
Yes, I said
I'm
my
hearing.
number four is take responsibility. Own
Okay.
your stuff.
Okay. And I say, own your stuff. And then you say what? Own your stuff. Then I say, own your stuff. Then you say, and that's what happens. Nobody wants to own his stuff. What's number five? Number five is brainstorm. So don't think you always have all the answers. A lot of times you have to research, dig. Don't try to resolve 10 issues in one setting. What's your number five?
My number five.
My number five is better than yours.
Is brainstorm solutions and come up with one that satisfies both people. Something that you don't allow us to do.
And you're going to put that out here? How? Well, why have we been married 30 years?
Because I'm such a forgiving and
Well, how often
person.
do you say I'm sorry?
I mean,
In the front of God, I want you to say this in front of the heavens. How often do you come and say, Sheila, I'm sorry, I acknowledge? How often? Oh, he's bent down, he can't get back up. Might be a mic check, mic drop. It's a mic drop. Maybe you want to get that mic because I see. I'm just an honest person. You know, that's why my church love me. He get up there and he talk about, my wife she don't never wash the toilet. Then I get up, wait a minute, I just washed them Saturday. Then they be looking at both of us like both of them's crazy. Both of them crazy. Okay, number 6. Honey, are you still with me? We still married? Because he's the only one laughing. You're not laughing. Are we triggering anything? Is there a trigger?
No. I have some things I want to converse with you later. But
Okay. Well, I always get a beat down after these shows. I just want you all to pray for me. Number 6, discuss and evaluate your solutions. I think you need to go discuss, evaluate, write them down yourself before you come, because some of your stuff is so scrabbled. I'd be like, what are they talking about? It's just be on and on and on. And I know when you have conflict within yourself, you want resolve. You should want resolve. And you can't get resolve through some of the appetites that we have developed in the world. You can't cover up solutions. You have to process them out of your system. What's your number 6, Pastor? Isn't this fun?
yes, my number 6 is affirm, forgive, or thank each other. So affirm the resolution, forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say forgive?
Forgive.
Yes. Something that
Don't forget, but forgive.
Yeah.
Don't keep reminding them, but
Some
forgive.
people have really a tough problem with forgiving. You know what I mean, brother? But
Forgive to me mean allowing that person to release them from the prison of an issue, right? Okay, we release you. Okay. So number 7, and we're done. Agree on one solution to try. So you should agree on one solution to try. Now we know that you may not get resolved when we're talking about sexual abuse. You may not be able to go back into your history, go back into the people, go back into some systems, whether it's prisons or anybody that have brought hurt in your life. But you may not be able to go back and speak with them. But you have to work some of these things out within yourself, finding someone good to share your story, and never have you had a part in sexual abuse. You had nothing to do with it, and the trauma that it has caused to your brain and to your memories and to your emotions and to your spirit. But I'm here to tell you that you can overcome. I have overcome. You can get over the hurt of it all, the shame of it all, the embarrassment. And I just began to remember, even when I loved my stepfather as a stepfather, I didn't always hate him. I hated him later on for what he done to me. But I had to go and separate those things because I felt so devalued, even if I was to think of him as a good person at all. He was not a good person later on, but there was times when I was a little girl that he was nice to me. And so I had to separate that so I can clear my mind from all the trauma. Some of you have been in very bad relationships. You have to, like Pastor Calvert has said tonight, how do you have to forgive? And that is another whole nother story. But I want you to try some of these. You have to have application. Don't get this information and this content and don't apply it. Apply these things to your situation. Begin to listen, and it does not mean that a person get a pass or they get by, but they're wrong. And some people is never going to admit that they're wrong, but you can resolve the issue within you. So there is resolve. Also, would you do me a favor? Make sure you get a copy of this book, Why Should I Be Ashamed? Hey, start a prayer group. There's prayers in the back of this book, and that would help you with some of your conflicts. Thank you, Pastor Calvert, for being such a great sport tonight, and thank you, Minister Broderick, for being here with us tonight. We appreciate you, and thank all of you for listening and watching in. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and be great, because you are great, and be healed and get your miracle. Thank you for watching.